impassioned about this this whole continuing debate on the budget, and what I really think is some very questionable reporting by the dominant media culture about this whole thing. And I want to use an item that appeared in yesterday's USA Today as a means of illustrating this. Now, you may have heard over the weekend that the administration and administration economists put out this forecast of 8 million new jobs by 1996. That's only 3 years from now. And they say that they are going to create these 8 million new jobs only if the Clinton economic plan is passed. And of course, there is absolutely no evidence, and this is not me and my opinion here, this is not ideology, this is history. And this is economics 101, and the fact that this is arguable, the fact that there is even a debate over this, I think as a side comment here indicates the woeful state of economic education in America. There simply is no way that you can raise taxes on the wealth producers to the degree this administration is going to and create economic growth. This administration's plan is hell-bent on seeing to it that nobody does well, especially those perceived to have done well in the 80s. We're going to get them back. We're going to punish them. We're going to make sure they have less. They are very open about that. If those who create wealth and hire people who produce jobs, if those people are going to have less to invest, where are these jobs going to come from? Like you may have heard in sound bites on your radio this morning, radio news or TV, the president said that if you work 40 hours a week and if you're in poverty, you are going to have an increased wage. Let me find exactly what he said. He said he planned to lift folks who are working 40 hours a week out of poverty by giving them tax breaks. Well, I want somebody to show me in history where giving tax breaks has made somebody wealthier. That's not how wealth is created. This is a fundamental, in my mind, a fundamental lack of understanding, and I think that's being generous, because I don't know how, I can't believe that the economists in this administration are really this ignorant or don't know that you don't create wealth with the tax code. You rearrange it. You can certainly do that. You can use the tax code for social architecture. You don't create wealth with the tax code. Everybody would be wealthy if that were the case. Because that would be the smartest political thing to do. What intelligence would there be in a politician coming up with a plan that kept everybody poor? Rush, you've stumbled and swerved into something here, because that's precisely what I think several aspects of liberalism are indeed all about, is creating a dependent class of people and increasing the number of people in it so as to create more need for government, more need for Washington, and hence empower the people who are in Washington. So that's number one. I don't know how, where are the questions? Where is somebody in the press saying, hey, you economists in the administration, or hey, Mr. President? It's left to hecklers. You know, hecklers have to stand and ask the questions that the mainstream press ought to be asking. And there's the same thing about gridlock, which we're going to talk about here in just a second after the break coming up. But yesterday, the president starts lamenting and moaning about gridlock. Now, I distinctly remember this administration saying, Al Gore proclaiming proudly, gridlock is over. This was after the election. This was after their first economic summit in Little Rock, and then after the inauguration, everybody was feeling very euphoric and ebullient, talking about how the days of gridlock were over. And remember when I said we need to go back to the archives here and find this, because it won't be hard to find, because I said it so many times. Last fall, after the election, on this show, and this is not bragging, my friends, somebody's going to remind you the facts, and since I have them at my fingertips at my disposal, I'm going to be the one to do it. I said that Bill Clinton is going to find that his biggest enemy is not Republicans and not radio talk show hosts, but rather Congress. And you who have been listening regularly to this show, and there are millions of you, latest spring rating book is in, and we continue our astronomical climb. It's absolutely amazing, and the heartfelt thanks is due from me to you for this. We'll have more details on that, too, as this program unfolds. Simple fact of the matter is that the predictions I made are coming to pass. Now, let me get back to the USA Today story of yesterday and the administration economists. They say they're going to create 8.3 million new jobs by 1996. Of the 8.3 million new jobs, they say that 23% are going to be created in California. And as I stated yesterday, Californians, I don't think, are this dumb to accept this. Californians are going to say, fine, where are they going to come from? California's economy right now is in deep recession. And what's happened in California the last 2 years? Well, they have suffered out there, yet suffered the largest state income tax increase in history. Not just income, state taxes on popcorn. If you have pre-popped popcorn that you buy in a store, the tax is higher than if it's unpopped. There are taxes on free newspapers. I mean, it's the weirdest, largest, most punitive tax increase in state history. They've got a budget deficit larger than they thought. It's ballooning. They also have suffered tremendous amounts of military cutbacks as we've gone through the past 2 years of downsizing the military. California was heavily invested as a defense state, and look what's happened. Now, the people of California sitting out there saying, how are we going to get 2 million new jobs in 2.5 years when the base closings are going to be happening during that period of time, throwing who knows how many people out of work? And we've got another huge tax increase coming. At least a federal tax increase, and who knows what the state's going to do again, because the budget deficit, of course, after this massive tax increase is higher than it would have been had there been no tax increase. That's what boggles my mind. There doesn't seem to be any evidence that what the president wants to do is going to work at all. I mean, it's the evidence, the 1990 deal, it was this show, ladies and gentlemen, which went back and found for you the quotes of the same participants in 1990. And the same participants in this year's budget deal, and what they said then versus what they say now. And we pointed out the fraud that exists in the selling of the 93 deal. And there are more and more people, I think, becoming aware that raising taxes doesn't cause smaller deficits. In fact, nobody's even making the case the deficit's going to be smaller. Remember, when you talk about reduced deficit spending, you're still talking about more spending, just less than somebody predicted in 1990 during the out years. So, I mean, it seems to me that the administration continues to get away with making these assertions and these claims without serious challenge from anybody other than hecklers, radio talk show hosts, and then, of course, polls come out. And various publications do their obligatory stories on talk radio as a threat to democracy, and how people who listen to it and host it and call are somehow not really representatives of the majority of thought in the country. So it's a strange thing, and it gets even stranger when you look at how the White House economists claim that these 2 million new jobs are going to be created in California. Listen to this. The forecasts, White House economists concede, assume that regional patterns the next 4 years resemble those of the 80s. What? Whoa, wait a minute. Growth in the 80s? Why, I thought the last 12 years were among the worst economy in the last 50 years. What growth in the 80s? Well, I thought everything we were doing now was to fix what went wrong in the 80s. Let me read further. That could mean the White House has overestimated growth in such states as California, which might not be as able to match their strong records of the 80s. Strong records of growth of the 80s? There's not going to be any growth anywhere, except in the power of government after this bill is passed, if it squeaks through. And so where are people saying, I mean, this is just a little front page story on USA Today, and I haven't heard one person ask these, what do you mean growth in the 80s? You guys have been saying that the last 12 years have given us some of the worst messes that this country has ever been in. And yet, to get ourselves out of this problem, we've got to go back and recreate the growth of the... Well, how do we do that? And there was 59 straight consecutive months of increased economic growth. And it wasn't all due to borrowing. There were serious economic plans involving low tax rates that actually caused the rich to pay more in taxes that actually contributed to the growth of entrepreneurism, the creation of wealth. We got to take a break a little bit over time. We come back, gridlock, the Congress and the president finally getting mad yesterday in Chicago after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network. Last April, David Koresh and 80 followers perished in the Waco Holocaust. Authorities claim they were a threat to society, but the reclusive Branch Davidians owned fewer guns than most Texans. Did they really die for political reasons? Read our report, then decide. The American Spectator answers explosive questions about the Waco tragedy. Did ATF agents move in on Koresh to divert attention from an agency sex scandal? Was the raid designed to curry favor with the liberal Clinton administration? What unwitting role did 60 Minutes play in the timing of the raid? Finally, did David Koresh really die because he was a white male religious gun-collecting tax resistor? Subscribe to the American Spectator, and we'll send you our free investigative report gunning for Koresh. Call 800-647-5200. For $34.95, you'll get 12 issues of the American Spectator and your free blockbuster Koresh report. Call 800-647-5200. Supplies are limited. That's 800-647-5200.
Now, honestly, the next time you're in that fancy restaurant, wouldn't you like to be the one casually ordering in the waiter's native tongue? Well, if you spend some time with our National Dynamics language program, we'll have you speaking and understanding Spanish, French, Italian, German, or Japanese in 30 days. No books, no classes. Just our audio tapes in your home, car, or portable cassette player. Call this number today, 1-800-545-1985. That's 1-800-545-1985. Just think, you'll never have to eat the wrong dish again.
This is a special announcement. Orman's Furniture and Appliances is the largest independent GE and Amana dealer in Wayne and Johnston counties. Because of this, we must sell volume, bringing you the lowest prices in town. Now Orman's would like to become one of the largest furniture outlets. To accomplish this, we must lower prices. This change will be effective immediately. Prices have been lowered on name brands such as Bassett, Broyhill, Lane, Berkline, American Drew, and Simmons Bedding. Here's one example. 6-piece all-wood dining room suite for only $399 with table and 5 chairs. Orman's is offering no high-pressure sales pitch, no frills, no tricks, just one low price. If our price is not the lowest, we will pay you for your trouble for finding it elsewhere. Ask a salesperson for details. These prices will be offered from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. Saturday. Cash, checks, Visa, and MasterCard are accepted. Financing is available. Shop Orman's newest location at 1204 North Berkeley in Goldsboro and Orman's in Smithville, Selma, Highway 301 and Orman's Plaza.
It's Sears National Furniture Sale, where all furniture and mattresses are on sale right now. All sofas, sleepers, bedrooms, and dining rooms. All the best brands, like Stanley, Broyhill, Sealy, Stratalounger, and Spring Air. Plus, there are special purchase and value-priced items that are also great values. Everything's on sale for Sears' huge National Furniture Sale, but only through August 28th at Sears Home Life Furniture and most Sears stores.
You can count on me. Sears Robots and Company.
Each year, America spends more than $1 billion to repair and replace vandalized highway signs, and more than $15 million to clean up litter in national parks. Hi, I'm Linda Evans, National Spokesperson for Take Pride in America, a grassroots effort to preserve and enhance our nation's resources. With every act that damages our resources, we Americans steal from ourselves and rob our children of our country's beauty. To find out how to help, call 1-800-US-PROUD.
Talent on loan from God. Rush Limbaugh in New York on the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. The state of EIB, our phone number, 800-282-2882. The president was in Chicago yesterday complaining about gridlock. And as I said earlier, it was up to a heckler, a man by the name of William Kelly, to ask during his speech, how can you talk about gridlock when the Democrats have control of Congress? Of course, what the president will seek to do and wants you to believe is that Republicans are causing the gridlock and are causing the problems. And as I have reminded you many times, I'm going to remind you again, the Republicans don't have the votes to stop anything in this economic budget. Now, the Republicans, because they can't filibuster it. Now, they can filibuster some things, and there is the Clinton National Service plan might be filibustered, and the Republicans can create a filibuster with 41 votes, because Democrats can't reach cloture unless they have 60. They can't stop it. But on the budget, the Republicans can't do a thing. If every Republican voted against the plan in the Senate, voted against the plan in the House, and it still passed in both houses. And there are not more Republicans in either house since those votes. So the gridlock is indeed occurring because of the Democrats in the Congress. Now, this could open the door to a discussion on a wide variety of subjects, such as Congress itself, and is it holier than thou? Of course not. But there's enough disingenuousness here to go around, and there's clearly enough reason to be a bit cynical, and it's quite easy to chuckle here. No gridlock, huh? Days of gridlock are over, huh? Going to have cooperation. What really goes on in our government is this constant quest for power. The congressional branch, legislative branch wants as much executive power as they can get. It doesn't matter whether the president's a Republican or Democrat. That's just built into our system, and that's what we're seeing happen now. I want to go through for you some of the details of the gridlock so that you will know specifically what it is the Democrats want that they don't feel they're getting, certain groups of Democrats in Congress. The Congressional Black Caucus, which is mad at Clinton anyway, and some other liberals who support them, are fighting for a major increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit, which lowers the tax hit on the working poor. The version in the House, which was proposed by the president, is $10 billion more expensive than the Senate version over the 5 years of this deal. The Congressional Black Caucus is not happy, and they want a better deal on because their constituency, primarily people of low-income groups or in low-income groups and mired in poverty, are affected by this. But here again, it is the wrong way to focus on prosperity. Here, in other words, this administration is saying, look, we're going to raise everybody's taxes, but we're not going to have a stalled economy because we've got low interest rates, and we've got earned income tax credits. We have all these things to offset what they know but they won't admit are plans to slow down the economy. And it's just, I wish I'd come up with an analogy to describe, using an automobile, what this is really. It's kind of like, you know what we're going to do? We are going to save gasoline. This is a perfect analogy. I just thought of this. This is a perfect analogy. Folks, we have a new way to save gasoline as you drive around. Gun it. Put your foot on that pedal as hard as you can. And then coast when you run out of fuel. The problem is that you're not going to be coasting downhill. You're not going to be able to maintain that speed. You're going to run into other hills, and pretty soon you're going to stop because you're going to run out of gas. And that is pretty much what this whole plan is. We're going to raise everybody's taxes. We're going to gun the accelerator here. But then we're going to build in some things that will save you money elsewhere so that the tax increases are not as big a burden. The analogy there would be we're going to give you after you gun it, and then we're going to let you just coast all the way downhill. But, of course, that is not the way to conserve gasoline. And besides, it doesn't take into account that you have to produce more when you need to buy some. We've got a break. We'll come up a little bit more with this afterwards and then go to your calls. Don't go anywhere.
School's out. Report cards are in. If that report card said, get help with reading this summer, try Hooked on Phonics. Hooked on Phonics is a fun and easy way to sound out and read most of the words in the English language. So from preschool to high school, this summer, let Hooked on Phonics be your personal reading tutor. Maybe this fall, you'll be at the head of the class. Call Hooked on Phonics, 1-800-ABCDEFG.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
This is Wayne Alley reporting WGBR News. The Wayne County Board of Health approved employment of a second nurse to assist in the department's tuberculosis program. That nurse would go into homes and make sure patients are taking prescribed medications. This is in anticipation of mandatory home visits due to a rise in the number of cases of tuberculosis. This will not require any county funds. Also, the Board of Health approved increasing the adult health fee from $15 to $30 to be in compliance with Medicaid reimbursements. Both proposals must now go to county commissioners for approval. A preliminary Class 9 rating in the National Flood Insurance Program's community rating system has resulted in a 5% discount for National Flood Insurance Program policies issued or renewed in Goldsboro since October 1st of last year. And city officials are currently examining other activities which will improve the city's rating and result in even larger discounts for National Flood Insurance Program policyholders in the future. The Class 9 rating indicates the city has surpassed the minimum requirements to participate in the National Flood Insurance Program. The Wayne County Social Services Board elected Jimmy Ford as board chairman yesterday and elected Brenda Baldwin of Mount Olive as vice chairperson. Ford, an acting dean at Wayne Community College, had been serving as vice chairman. He succeeds Mrs. Carolyn Russell, whose term on the board expired. The election came after Betsy Smith of Fremont and Mrs. Baldwin were sworn in as board members. Mrs. Smith was reappointed to the board by Wayne County Commissioners, and Mrs. Baldwin was appointed by Social Services Commission. Mrs. Baldwin served on the board previously. The highlights of the 1993 General Assembly will be reviewed Friday at noon in the Holiday Inn of Goldsboro by Senator John Carr and Representatives Carolyn Russell, Jerry Braswell, and Phil Baddour, Jr. The legislators will discuss the status of business issues such as the Global Transpark Economic Development Zone, workers' compensation reform, the Industrial Recruitment Fund, and education reform measures. It will be a Dutch luncheon at a cost of $6 per person with reservations required by calling the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce prior to 5 p.m. Thursday. And 2 Goldsboro suspects have been placed under a $50,000 secured bond on a cocaine charge. According to documents on file, 22-year-old Samuel D. Brewington of Pine Valley Road and 32-year-old Anthony Stovall of George Street are charged with 1 count each of possession with intent to sell and deliver cocaine. Reporting for WGBR, I'm Wayne Alley.
Our skies will stay partly cloudy. There is a slight chance of a thunderstorm today, but generally just hot, muggy summertime weather coming up. Nothing all that unusual. Temperatures will be hot, though, and it's been a long, hot month so far. We'll continue it today with highs up in the mid-90s. Clear tonight, lows in the low to mid-70s. Then tomorrow, partly cloudy, mid to upper 90s for highs, and a slight chance of a thunderstorm. I'm Bill Schmidt at the Weather Center.
We're on the town, 1150 WGBR.
My brain tied behind my back to make it fair. Rush Limbaugh, the 4th branch of government, so proclaimed by others, not I. Here on the EIB Network, my friends, we have something new for the archives of this program and something old from the archives, back to back.
What do you get when three witches move in and turn the nation's capital upside down? Loads of zany, wacky, nutty scenarios that'll scare the hell out of you. Paraffin Pictures presents Hillary Clinton, Donna Shalala, and Joycelyn Elders in Hocus Pocus.
Look, Joycelyn, children. Oh, I love children. And with a wave of my wand,
Every cow. A
find them for all of them.
Hocus Pocus, a story of three witches turned loose on Washington and their uncanny ability to cast their spell
Every cow, a planned and wanted cow.
on anyone.
Wing of bat and eye of newt really give Bill Sessions the boot.
Must fire Bill Sessions. Must fire Bill Sessions. Must fire Bill Sessions.
Hocus Pocus, starring the three wicked witches of the left.
Ooh, look, Hillary, a nice family out for a walk down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Let's turn the father into a toad. Then we can teach the kids about sex.
Oh, good thinking, Joycelyn.
Hocus Pocus, starring Hillary Clinton, Donna Shalala, and Joycelyn Elders. With these three in Washington, there's no telling what kind of tricks they'll pull. Now playing at a theater near you.
From EIB Films LTD. And my friends, now to the archives, and we warned you.
First, there were Gremlins. Then, Goonies. And now someone new is coming to town. Washingtonian Pictures presents Lefties. They appear cute and unassuming, but feed their power-hungry appetites, and they transform into little monsters. A university chancellor becomes a Health and Human Services secretary. A corporate attorney becomes a maniacal commerce secretary.
Conflict of interest? What conflict of interest?
A former Carter administration official becomes attorney general.
Really? I didn't know they were illegal aliens.
And a wife and mother becomes first lady.
They'll have a say in everything.
Lefties will scare you to death as they ravage, terrorize, and devour everything in sight.
We need more tax money.
And they're all led by the biggest lefty of them all.
Invest in America.
And his little toad, Al Gore.
Let's go to the Senate.
Lefties. No matter how much they beg, no matter how much they whine, never, ever feed their power-hungry appetites. Coming soon from Washingtonian Pictures.
You know what we ought to do? We may as well line up all the taxulas, too. Line them up. Take your time. We're not going to do them immediately. This show happens on the cuff, spontaneously, as I have often told you, and so I say line up all the taxulas and their eyes widen in there. Who, me, now? And I bet you've got them now, don't you? That's how they're all ready. If I wanted to do it, and that's how fast we work here, folks. If I wanted to do all the... In fact, I do. I want to do Taxula 1. And then I'll tell you other reasons why the Democrats are causing gridlock. Let's just hear. Play one.
In a castle deep in the heart of Arksylvania, there lives an evil as old as the Democratic Party itself. Paramount Pictures presents Bill Clinton in Taxula.
Count Taxula, arise. It is I, your faithful servant, Al Gore. Your agenda requires that you feed.
And you, Al Gore, have you raised the cafe standards?
Yes, master.
Shredded my draft records?
Yes, master.
Good, good. Then I am off.
Happy hunting, master.
He lays in waiting until his hunger calls. Then he pounces on anyone who makes over $36,000 per year. sucking the lifeblood out of every American taxpayer.
Stop the tape, sir. It's now $20,000 a year. A little update.
We found his paycheck lying here, drained of every penny.
How could anyone do this in good conscience? It's inhuman.
All the while, using his charisma and slick character to hypnotize his victims.
Just look into your television. Invest in America. Invest in America. Invest.
Bill Clinton is taxula. He sleeps in the daytime and has been known to prowl at night.
Oh, Willie, do that again.
Bill Clinton is taxula.
Come on, Al Gore. Let's go to Congress. I'm hungry.
Come on, Al Gore. Let's go to Congress. Well, how many more episodes of Taxula are there? About 3 more, aren't there? Did we get Taxula 4? So we'll intersperse those with the program today as it unfolds. Now back, and I promise after this we'll go to a break and then we'll get to your phone calls. Because I want to spell out for you where this gridlock is coming, because I know what's going to happen. These guys, when this thing either way, whether this thing passes or fails, I guarantee you, in fact, it would be great if it failed. The economy would be saved. Your job would have a far better chance of remaining a job, and your chance to earn more money at that job would be far greater if this plan goes up in flames or up in smoke. That's the real crying shame about this. But either way, if this plan, because see, when the plan, if it succeeds, it isn't going to work, and guess what? They're going to have to blame somebody. And you know who they're going to blame? They're going to blame the Republicans. They're going to say gridlock. Republicans stood in our way at every turn. Republicans opposed us at every path. If they'd have just let the president have his plan as he originally decided it way back in February, it would have sailed through, and we'd have a robust recovery going. But the Republicans stood in the way, and we had to change elements of the plan. And once you start tinkering with the plan, then it goes in different directions, and it never had a chance. And they're going to blame Republicans. This, in fact, has been known by many, and the Republicans have had to come to grips with the decision as to how to approach this, because they know it's going to happen. And that's why Republican unity is crucial. If there is a Republican out there who votes for any aspect of a tax increase, then Clinton, that's why he wants bipartisanship. He's out there begging for bipartisanship so that he can share the blame with the Republicans. Now, I want, therefore, to detail for you where this gridlock is coming from, and you'll find there are no Republicans involved in this gridlock. Besides the Congressional Black Caucus and other liberals wanting an increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit, liberal Democrats in the House also want new spending for food stamps, new spending for child immunization and childhood hunger programs, as well as smaller cuts in Medicare than were passed with the Senate. Now, where do you get smaller out of any of this increased spending? Where is the deficit reduction here? Most conservative Democrats want more spending cuts than tax increases and the smallest possible boost in energy taxes. Now, the gasoline tax is being argued about 9 cents a gallon. Here, Gingrich blamed it on representatives and senators from New York because the subway's here. And although a case could be made for that, and you ought to see the papers here today. Gingrich is the devil. Why, how dare you criticize anybody from New York? How dare you do that? He's on the front page of New York Daily News. New Yorkers are probably saying, who the hell's that? I've never heard of him before. He's from Georgia, which doesn't exist, as you know, here in New York. It may as well be sawed off like Lyndon Johnson did in the Barry Goldwater commercial, the floating east, and let it drift off over to Bosnia. There's Gingrich smiling on the front page of the Daily News. And he's saying it's the fault of Moynihan and some others who who realize that a lot of people drive subways. Of course, then there are other people who say, wait a minute, there's more to New York than New York City, and that's fortunate. And they say those people drive out there. They don't ride subways in Buffalo. They don't ride subways in Rochester. They don't ride subways in the Catskills. They're driving their cars. And it's true. I mean, you get on any interstate highway coming into New York City or any of the thoroughfares, and you'll see traffic jam most all the time. But it is interesting to watch, and this is called Republican gridlock, by the way, when the Democrats propose a 9-cent gas tax, and Gingrich says, well, sure, that's because the guys from New York are proposing because there aren't many people driving cars. It's politically safer for them. Uh-oh, gridlock, Republicans standing in our way. When the Democrats stand in the way of one another, it's not gridlock, it's good government, except if you're President Clinton. So, the other aspects of this plan that are in trouble are all in trouble because of Democrats. The point here is, folks, that there is gridlock, and gridlock in this case is Democrat versus Democrat, and Bill Clinton's number one enemy from the time, all presidents' number one enemy is Congress. It is arrogant. It is, I think the House of Representatives is the most corrupt institution in our government. And I just think that it's imperative that people realize this, because, as I've pointed out, it's up to hecklers so far. And radio and I guess some television talk shows, when they're not focusing on gay nuns on dope and talk about these kinds of issues. But the dominant media culture doesn't point this stuff out to you. They don't ask the president these questions about the 80s. And how can you sit there and criticize it and then on another day say you need the growth patterns of the 80s for your plan to work? So keep it in mind as this thing goes forward, because the Republicans are going to be blamed for whatever doesn't work. We've got another quick break, but we'll be back. And as I've promised, and I am a man of my word, your calls right after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
The vocabulary of the average person stops growing by age 25. Your vocabulary is limited. Your potential for success is too. Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful audio cassette program, gives you the words you need to succeed. Just by listening, you'll learn word meanings, pronunciation, and usage, plus essential power words to give you confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 800-28-TAPES.
This is Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute. Imagine having a virtual photographic memory and being able to meet over 100 people and remember all their names. Or have instant recall of everything you see, hear, or even think about. Over 2 million people have already benefited from the Mega Memory Home Study course and released their own instant recall memory. Now it's your turn. Call 1-800-327-MEGA. That's 1-800-327-MEGA.
Madison's has moved to their new location. That Madison's buffet that others try to duplicate. Those magnificent steaks, prime rib and lobster tails that you've grown to love have moved to the former River House location. Enjoy the lunch and dinner buffet Monday through Friday, the Saturday dinner buffet, and the Sunday lunch buffet in a larger, more elegant setting. There's plenty of parking and elbow room, too, so join Buddy and Kathy Myers for lunch and dinner at the new Madison's on New Hope Road in Goldsboro.
Make your cleaning easier with a new Dirt Devil vacuum by Royal from Waynesboro Furniture. Dirt Devil vacuum cleaners are great for cleaning stairs, upholstery, automobiles, carpets, and much more. The popular Dirt Devil vacuums are easy to handle and very powerful, with great pickup. Plus, you get a complete set of attachments that ride piggyback on the Dirt Devil vacuum. For the Dirt Devil uprights and other terrific deals and vacuums by Royal, come by Waynesboro Furniture, 119 North Center Street, downtown Goldsboro.
The Sign Source. John Cox at the Sign Source in Berkeley Junction has all kinds of signs.
Special events.
John Cox can make you a sign just for your own business.
A business sign.
And he also has open house signs, welcome home signs.
For sale.
Yes, and boy or a girl signs, and there's a lot more. The Sign Source. How about a sign for an anniversary sale? Or special signs, any size for the inside or out of your business, custom made just for you. Call the Sign Source, 778-1717, or drop by the Sign Source, Berkeley Junction, Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro. The Sign Source.
It's that time again. It's the 1993 tobacco season. The Goldsboro Tobacco Market's first sale will be on Wednesday, June 28th. Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR will be there broadcasting live from 8:30 to 10 a.m. The Goldsboro Tobacco Market's grand opening brought to you by Carolina Tractors, Courtesy Buick, Nor-Am Chemical Company, and by Wilbur's Barbecue at Eastgate and Highway 70 East, and by Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
As you know, I'm online on CompuServe checking electronic mail during the program. Got a great note here from a gentleman named Randall Lenders. Growth of the 80s, he writes. Why, aren't these the same people who were decrying the greed of the 80s? Since when is growth the synonym for greed? Why, since we elected Bill Clinton. That's when. Yeah, we will do it without the greed. That's right. We're going to have growth without the greed. Why? Because we are better people. Why are we going to try socialism, ladies and gentlemen? Because it never mind that it's failed everywhere that it's tried. We are better people, say the current occupants of the administration. We are better people. We care more. We're smarter. We're good people. We're in touch. We know the politics of meaning. We know that there are things bigger than ourselves, and you don't know that yet. We'll teach you that. Oh, yeah, well, it's going to happen, and it's going to be fun to watch the explanations for when it doesn't work. And somehow, my friends, they'll find a way to blame Reagan and Bush. Well, you know, the roots of the 80s were so deep, deeper than we ever imagined when we got here. It's going to take us years and years to unearth all of the problems that are so deeply ingrained in our economy by the evil 80s. That's what they'll do. They'll say, give us another 4 years to fix it, then we promise. Dallas, Texas. Steve, hello. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program. Glad you called.
Hi, my name is Chris Aaron.
You're not Steve from Dallas?
No, sir.
Okay, hang on just a second. Where did Snurdly go? Probably getting me a beverage. Richard in San Leandro, California. Hi, welcome to the program.
Mega dittos from the left coast, Rush.
Thank you. Great to hear from you.
Thank you. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about the comments that Sam Donaldson made this weekend on the roundtable. I don't know if you happened to hear them about his taxes.
Look, I saw it. The Brinkley show, you mean? I saw it. This is an amazing... There are a number of liberal Democrats, who deny, of course, that they are, who are on these Sunday morning shows who just can't wait to pay more taxes. Larry King is one. Larry King says, I don't think I'm paying enough taxes. I should have my taxes raised.
Here's the thing, Rush, though. All they have to do is go back and figure out all the money that they made over the 12 years and figure out how much extra taxes they should have paid and write a check and send it for deficit reduction.
Well, I think that's a good point. I've often said Phil Donahue and all these guys who complained about the greed of the 80s, Senator Bob Kerrey, these guys who did so well, look, why don't you give it back? Assuage your guilt. You know what it means. Here's the bottom line. This is little psychoanalysis 101. In Sam's case, it means he knows he's overpaid. Anybody who thinks that he's undertaxed knows that he's overpaid, that he's stealing, that he's getting away with murder on the job. Because I'm going to tell you something, folks. You can pay them whatever you want. There is a fund for people who want to send the government more than they owe. You can do it. How about all these bake sales? How about all these third graders raising $150 here and $150 there to reduce the national debt, which the president, as you remember, encouraged? I'm amazed. I think that you have there an illustration, a personification of the guilt that Sam Donaldson obviously feels. I mean, if he sits there and thinks that Reagan, for example, didn't tax him enough, then let him take a stand and pay what he thinks he should pay. But no, he doesn't do that. He sits around talking about how he got away with bloody murder. It's a profound lack of understanding that he exhibits about how the tax code works, about what fairness is and how it's defined. And it's also a bit hypocritical, because the easy way, Sam and any of the rest of you, Larry, if you feel like you're undertaxed, you ought to be, pay more. Pay more. Write them whatever you think is fair. Write them a check, send it in, and make a big deal about it. But don't sit there and then say that everybody else should feel like you do. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Everywhere I go, people are constantly